Welcome back. In today's episode, we pick up with Mark and Michaela, part 2. Mark and Michaela Logue are relationship experts, relationship coaches, and intimacy trainers. If you haven't already listened to part 1 of the interview, please start there. As was the case with part 1, there are so many tips, tricks, tools, ideas that it would be too long to mention of what's coming up in this short episode. Sit back and enjoy.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. We pick up with Mark and Michaela where we left off. What's some other bad advice that you see out there that's kind of common practice that is not good?
Oh my God. Well, the first one that comes to mind, Thor, and I know all of us have experienced this, I'll know it soon as I see it. I'm just going to know she's just going to be right for me. Mm-hmm. Or I'm just going to know he's just going to be right for me. I'm going to feel it. The moment that I know I see it that's it. I'm going to know. And you know what? A lot of times a really great woman and or a really great man will get passed up because we are responding to our lust center, because that I will know it when I see it is really the lust center, disguised as a radar.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, ooh, I'm getting a little hard on from this woman. She must be the one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or with the ladies, ooh, I feel a little blood flow down below. I know he's the one. And you know what? You can't tell that somebody's the one with just one energy center. And this is our technology. This is our Mark and Michaela technology, the energy centers, right? You can't make a decision, a solid whole decision about a person unless all 4 energy centers are aligned. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started dating, I found that I needed a better way of kind of coming up with who might be a good fit. Because like you said, first thing is you look at them and then what sort of reaction do you get from that? And I'm like, this is not a good way to choose. Oh. Yeah. And literally I sat back and I said, I formed something what I call the 6 eyes. First one is eye candy. Obviously, I want someone attractive. And then I wanted someone who was intelligent. I wanted someone that their identity was in alignment with mine. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make sure that their interests, they have their interests, I have my interests, but we've got to have some common interest at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Intimacy at some point in the relationship, the intimacy piece, if that doesn't work, that's probably not going to be a good long-term partner for me. So that really helped me. And I think you're spot on with having a system of being able to evaluate the partnership.
Let me add one piece to this too.
Yeah.
All of us are wired by Mother Nature. And I don't know if you remember your initial biology class in secondary school or in high school, as you say in America. But the first line in the biology book is the function of all species is to reproduce. We are programmed to reproduce. We're wired. It's hardwired into us. You see a woman, you see a man, it's like, I have to have that. I need to have that. I want to have that. But that person is not the intelligent person who matches the identity, nor has the interests, nor has the intimacy patterns that you have. But Mother Nature programmed you, let's get together, let's get the genes together.
Let's get it on.
Let's get it on. Yeah!
We need to tee up the music.
Yeah.
Little Marvin Gaye.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Mother Nature designed the species to reproduce, to ultimately survive. She didn't design us to live 80 years and be happy for 50 of those years. Mother Nature designed us to live 25 to 30 years. And we were having babies at 16, 17 years old, and we weren't staying together as a couple. We were staying together in a tribal format prior to the last couple of 100 years. So this society that we've created today is far ahead of where we are from an evolutionary standpoint. So to your point, you have to come up with a system. To our point, you have to come up with a system. And I think all of us collectively are saying here, you need to consciously look at all the elements that go into making a relationship, not just Mother Nature's programming of, man, she's hot.
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing that I found too is the other person is always trying to figure out how to kind of put on their best look, their best them. And I think a lot of times during the dating process, people, Allison Armstrong says pretzeling is the term that she uses.
Yeah.
They try to become what they think you want.
Yeah.
What do you tell couples when they're in that environment? What can they do to kind of cut through that so they're really seeing the authentic person?
I'm letting Michaela run with this one.
Yeah, so it's so funny because I call it, when you're dating, I call it, sometimes your representative shows up. You don't.
That's good.
Right? So, you go out on a date, and us, we ladies, we bend ourselves into a pretzel by putting the Victoria's Secret push-up bra on, or we put on our Spanx.
Oh my God.
We put on our Spanx.
The worst invention for men is Spanx.
Get out of here. And we put on our Spanx, and then we put on our eyelashes. And then maybe if our hair is short and we want to have that long flowing hair, we put on the hair extensions. And maybe, we have the minimizing bra or the minimizing underwear. I mean, we bend ourselves into a pretzel, a la Allison Armstrong, to show up to the first date looking like something out of a Victoria's Secret model catalog, if you can. The closest you can to get to that. And the fact of the matter is that I think women do themselves a disservice when they do all of that and then show up as their representative, not as who they really are. They do themselves and the man who they're going out on a date with, they're doing themselves a disservice. Why? Because how can you have the other person really make a conscious choice of who you are and whether you fit in their lives if you don't show up authentically?
Yeah, and most people, I think, are not going to be a fit. So why not figure out who's not a fit early on and keep moving?
Exactly, Thor. Yes, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly it. And so to give you an example of this, I will use myself and Mark. Why
am I being used?
Just
use yourself.
Because you're my husband.
Oh, yeah. Let's
who else am I going to use? Let me use my other Okay, you know what? I'm going to use an ex-boyfriend. Get out of here. So
just don't use the knives.
So you will find us bickering more often than not on these recordings. So sorry, guys. And yes, we are happy. And yes, we are relationship coaches. And yes, we bicker. Why? Because we are authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what we bring to the table when we are working with our couples and our newly singles is we bring authenticity. We teach exactly what we do, and we do exactly what we teach.
We share what to do because we do what we share.
Absolutely. Every single day. So when Mark and I first met, what we did, we met online, and that's a completely different topic of maybe another episode.
Yeah.
Right? So we met online, and we spoke for 27 hours on the phone before we decided to meet up.
Wow.
Yes. We spoke for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on the phone. And we just put and what I call it, this is my technology, I put all the uglies out on the table during those phone calls. This is what you're going to get from me when I am at my best, and this is what you're going to get from me when I am at my worst. I want you to know about all of it. Mm-hmm. I want you to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because when you go out on that first date with me, you're going out with me consciously knowing all of the pieces of the puzzle that you need to make a conscious decision as a man of personal growth with me. And I am stepping into this with you, consciously choosing you as a possible long-term mate and husband. And he was like, bring it on, baby. He was like, you want to keep it real and authentic? That's what I'm all about. And so we put all of our uglies out on the table. And when I first met him on the first date, I didn't put on my representative. I didn't do, oh my God, ha ha ha, that's so funny. Everything you say is so funny. Oh my God. So like all I want to do is eat a salad because all I eat are salads. And I don't really drink. No, I don't. Oh, that's so, everything you say is just so wonderful. No, the person who showed up was really me. The person who showed up was, I'm going to eat a full meal because a girl's got to eat.
And she did. And she had dessert.
And I had dessert.
That's when I fell in love. I go, oh, she's eating dessert.
Oh, she could eat.
Yeah.
Well, I'm starting to feel bad. I guess I'm not as funny as I thought it was because I was funny. You're saying they lied to me?
Well, what we're saying is that our representative sometimes will laugh at things that we may not necessarily find funny, but to be pleasant and to have a good time, you go, oh, that's so hilarious, or that's so interesting, and it's like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
You know, oh, wow, you're a nuclear physicist? Wow, that sounds so interesting. Crickets, crickets, crickets. So when we were on the date, you know, I was like, I'm going to eat because I'm hungry. I'm going to drink my wine because I like to drink wine. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to really listen to what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Everyone kind of goes into these dates wanting to just talk, but you never learn anything by talking.
Exactly.
Thor, I was on the biggest interview of my life. I meet this. So, like Michaela said, we spoke for between 27 to 28 hours before we actually decided to meet. And when the day we met was actually Valentine's Day.
Wow.
That was the first time we met. Michaela refers to Valentine's Day as Armageddon. You want to tell him why you feel it's Armageddon?
Yeah, so when we were first talking on the phone, he's like, oh, so do you want to meet up on this Friday?
Yeah.
This Friday? And I said, well, you know what Friday is, right? And he was like, yeah, it's Valentine's Day. And I was like, no, it's Armageddon. Dun, 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 with the music in the background. And he starts hysterically laughing. He says, why do you call it that? I said, because think of the word Armageddon. It's the day that everything stops. Things get destroyed. Things rise up out of the ashes. People are in fights. People are in their glory. People are having orgasms. People are crying. People are breaking up. People are making up. Everything that you can think of. The world is coming to an end, and also beginnings are starting from this day. This day is a very big day. It's Armageddon. And he was like, wow, this girl is really weird.
She's a nut. So this woman who I'd spoken to on the phone for 27 hours, and I really liked her, though. I hadn't seen her. I'd seen her pictures, and very, very beautiful girl. I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for the heart. I was looking for what was inside, because for me, I was looking for that long-term relationship where I could grow with somebody and have fun with somebody and have what I always dreamt about. And I met some amazing women, but there was always something missing for me.
Yeah, and I think so many times women don't understand that. They think that men are only after sex and what they look like. Which,
unfortunately, for too many men, they're operating out of their lust center, especially when you're young. Thor, Mother Nature programmed us from the time we get our first erection, be that 11, be that 15, be that 16. We can't think straight when we're around women.
Yeah.
Think back to when you were a teenage boy into your late 20s. It's only when we get to our late 20s, early 30s that men start to be able to control the lust center within themselves and start to be able to incorporate that into who they are as a human being. So I find many men today in particular don't step into the growth of manhood. Alison Armstrong has a great way of describing the growth of a man, where she talks about you initially started as a page, and then you become a knight, and then you become a prince, and then you go through certain stages of being a prince, and then you go through the tunnel, and then you can get to become a king. Not all men get to complete that cycle. Too many men today are knights, maybe early princes, where they're playing games and enjoying. And I'm going to use bad language here right now. As a knight wants to fight and a knight wants to fuck. That's it. That's all he wants to do. Mm. And women don't like that aspect of a man. They like the other pieces of the man, but they don't like that piece. And too many men lead with that piece. Men lead with the wallet. Here's my house. Here's my wallet. Here's my car. I'm worth 100 million. There's nobody like me out there. Nobody makes more money than me. And that's rubbish, because ultimately that's only one piece of you. Because when you're in look, I have clients that I coach, and I have a couple of clients who've gone to these men's programs, men-only programs, and too many men-only programs are, we're going to teach you, we're going to give you the tips, the tools, the strategies on how to get laid with 100 women in a year. Right?
Yeah. It's funny. I remember one dating site that I signed up for. They asked, do you own your own car? I was like, that's kind of fun. And literally, I own 3 through my company. And I was like, well, personally, I don't own any. So I'm just going to check, no, I don't own a car.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, if that's your qualification of finding a mate, if they own a car, I think you're looking in the wrong area.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, there's a piece of this from a woman's perspective. Again, Mother Nature has designed us a certain way. So a woman's looking for a man who can provide resources.
Yes.
That's big. Well, tell me about the house. So, are we going to travel? What is our life going to be like? Am I going to be slogging, getting up at 6 a.m, slogging 7 days a week? Am I going to be taking care of you? Because too many men today, like Michaela said, too many men have vaginas. Men today are okay with their woman taking care of them.
Yeah.
Paying all the bills. It's crazy what's going on out there.
Yeah, all you got to do is go out to a local restaurant or bar and see the number of dates where the women are paying the bills.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started. Thor, I'm going in. I'm going in.
So here's the thing, and this is the issue that's coming up with a lot of our newly singles. Now, we've termed the phrase newly singles as men and women who have been in long-term relationships, whether it was legal or not, and are just recently single after being in a very intense long-term relationship. So we call them newly single, because the newly single has a different mindset from the person who's never been in a long-term relationship or never been married. And so our newly singles come to us and they're like, oh, especially the guys, they're like, these women, all they're looking for is a free meal. Or all she wants to know is whether I can provide for her. I'm more than just a wallet. I'm more than just this. I'm more than just that. And I'm more than just a paycheck. And what we're educating our male newly singles is to breathe. First and foremost, breathe. Because that belief of women just only want me for my paycheck is going to drive you in the wrong direction, it's into another relationship that's not for you. Yeah. So let's look at that belief first and foremost. Secondly, we want to educate our newly single male clients to understand that women are still wired the same way they were thousands of years ago when we were in the cave. We are still looking for the caveman to provide resources for us and our children. And wanting for a man to provide resources for ourselves and our children is not something that we should be made wrong for. It's something that should be educated to men and also understood by men. Okay, at what level is she looking for resources? Now, is she looking for resources just to go buy herself a Louis Vuitton bag? Or is she looking at me as a possible provider? If she's looking at me as a possible provider, let me paint a picture for her or let her feel safe around me such that she would like to maybe continue and further a relationship on a deeper level with me, because I am providing her with resources that could potentially help her create a family, create a home with me and for me, have children with me and for me that are not going to be starving, where she's not going to be working, like Mark says, slogging 7 days a week and waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do all the work and pay all the bills.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that you have those conversations, honest and authentic conversations around that.
Oh, 100%.
And do it early on.
Yes. And so for me, from Mark and I, when we first met, and when I educate and I do my ladies only education, intimacy, education with my ladies, is it's the true ownership of your feminine. And the true ownership of your feminine means that you are okay with asking a man, especially if you're newly single, you are okay with asking a man, what resources are you bringing to the table in this potential relationship? And it's okay to ask that. And it's also okay to communicate to the man that's sitting across from you what resources you bring as a woman to the table. Because one of the things, Thor, that I did with Mark is I put it all out on the table. I told him, I said, this is what you're going to get with me if I am your woman. And he was like, ooh, and he perked up. His shoulders went back and his chest got puffy. And he says, okay, yeah, tell me, what am I getting out of this deal? Because what happens is women don't always communicate what the guy is going to get out of the deal. They always want to know, what am I getting?
Yeah, I say this over and over again. Go into a relationship figuring out what you can give, not get. I don't care if it's an intimate relationship or business relationship.
Absolutely.
The game changes.
Yes. And as a peak performer and as a person who is committed to peak performance, both sides of the negotiation table need to know, what am I getting out of this and what value am I bringing to this?
Yes.
That's always the first line of defense when you're doing a business deal or when you're doing a relationship deal. Because either way, it's a deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I first met Mark, and this is what I coach and educate my ladies to really truly own is, ladies, really truly own your feminine such that you can communicate in a very clear and concise manner what value you bring as a woman to the table.
Awesome.
And so what I shared with Mark, I said, look, if you are my man and we get married and as your wife, this is what I'm bringing to the table. I am bringing safety. I am bringing a clean house. I am bringing a home-cooked meal, 2 to 3 of those per day. I am bringing a solid spiritual environment because I am a very spiritual lady.
Give me a kiss.
And can you just let me... You know what? Can you edit that first? Can you edit that when he's speaking and we're doing these recordings? I don't interrupt him, and when I'm speaking, he gets so caught up in what I'm saying, he starts kissing me while I'm talking.
Sorry, I had to kiss it,
and I want to kick him.
I'm the same way. I'll be sitting here and my girl's next to me, and there's like a inch between the chairs, and I'm dragging her chair closer. It's like if our chairs aren't touching, we're not close to each other.
Yeah, and it's like, do you mind? I'm trying to say something here.
I'll kiss her, I'll hug her, she'll kick me, and I'll laugh.
We have to kiss.
Yeah,
you can't. It's part of our DNA.
Not in the middle of a recording. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Don't edit that. Keep that indoor.
Okay.
So back to the queen here.
So what I did was I communicated to Mark, when you come to the table with me, when you sign on to Michaela, this is the value that I bring. A solid spiritual life. And at that point, we had already established that we both believed in God and that we were both Christian-based people. And so you're going to get a home-cooked meal. You will come home to a clean house. I make the bed as soon as they get out of it. And he was like, so do I. This is, you're going to get a hardworking woman. A woman who doesn't mind bringing money into the home. You're going to get a woman who will never disrespect you verbally, spiritually, emotionally, or physically with any other man, ever. I bring to the table a level of respect and ownership of being the role of wife. And when I explained this to him, he just perked up. His masculine responded to that. So Mark, share about the way your masculine responded to that.
She brought a happy woman to me, Thor. She said to me, I like me. I'm complete with me. I'm good with me. I don't need you to make me happy. That perked me up because I had made the mistake in the past of thinking, I can complete this woman. I can make this woman happy. I can make blah, 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 blah. The stories that we tell ourselves, I can fix her.
Right. And you probably had a relationship before where you were trying to do that because the person was not complete.
And absolutely, that piece of me was there, and I was trying to fix the broken bird. I was trying to fix the wing of somebody that didn't want to be fixed and didn't particularly like themselves.
Knight in shining armor.
I was the knight. I was on the horse. I was the knight. I'm coming in. I'm here to save the day. Don't worry, I will save the fair maiden because that's what I do. I'm a knight from Ireland. That's what we do. Look at my square jaw, and I have a square jaw. And look at my square jaw, right? Michaela calls me Gaston all the time. And Michaela didn't bring that to me. Michaela brought, this is who I am. I like me. I've not had the easiest life, yet I've had a great life. I've had a very complete life. I wouldn't change anything about my life. And I'm looking for more, and I'm looking for a man. And I loved that. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to chase this woman. I made a decision when we were at dinner on our first date. I said, this is a woman for me. I'm going to chase this woman. I'm going to make this woman mine. And within 70 days, on day 70, I proposed to her on a plane.
Yes, he did.
On the way to Dominican Republic.
At 8 o'clock in the morning, and I had no makeup on.
And she had no makeup, and she still yells at me for that. And within 6 months, we were married. So
That's beautiful.
Because she is a happy woman, and she didn't need me to complete her. She's whole. And we had gotten to this before the date because we were very clear on what we wanted, and we were very clear on what we didn't want.
Transparency is everything. Thor, I know you like tips.
Yes.
That's one of them. Transparency. And so many of us are afraid to be transparent. We have fear that maybe if I show my true self, they won't like me.
Yeah. Someone was on the show just a couple of weeks ago, and they said 3 levels of transparency or authenticity. I forget what the first one is. I'll have to go back and figure that one out. But the second level was being authentic and transparent about what happened to you in the past. And the third level, the highest level, was saying what's going on right now. The good, the bad, the ugly. And I was thinking about that. It's difficult sometimes to tell the truth about the past or be authentic and really transparent about it. But when you do it in the present, this is what I'm currently going through. That opens up a whole new world.
And look, that transparency doesn't stop just because you found the person. I think it becomes
yes
critical to the success, the long-term success. Look, I tell my male clients, I say, look, I can show you how to get past the challenges that you have with who you are today so that you can get laid, so that you can find a woman for the weekend, for the month, or for a quarter. But there's going to come a time, could be 3 months, could be 6 months, could be 9 months. You might even make it a year, where this, as Michaela said, this representative showed up. But once you get past that point where the other piece of you who's true to your core, where he comes bursting forth, that piece of you is the fella who's going to take the relationship long term. He's the one who's going to be with this woman long term, not this initial representative. And for us, it was very important for us to show up authentically, real, the person at our core who we were comfortable with as individuals within ourselves. And that's the person takes us all the way through. And we check in every day. In the morning, we waking up, we say what we're grateful for. And at night, last thing at night, we hold hands, we kiss each other. And I ask Michaela, what are you grateful for today? She says her gratitude list a half an hour later. Then I say my 2 minutes.
An hour later. Yours is like 45 minutes.
And then I say what I'm grateful for. And we're constantly checking in. And we've taught ourselves, and we know this, and you've heard this, this is a personal development thing that's been around for 50 years. And it's, you can be right, or you can be in love, but you don't get to be both.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And many people, not just in relationships, not just in intimate relationships, but in business as well, we're so weighed down. We're so stuck in the box of, well, I'm right. We lose sight of the outcome. We lose sight of the outcome for the business deal. We lose sight of the outcome for the relationship. And the outcome for the relationship is to allow both of us to grow and be amazing together and have a wonderful life together. It's not about being right. And being right is an anchor that will destroy and ultimately sink the ship that is your relationship.
That concludes part 2 of our interview with Mark and Michaela. Please tune in later this week for part 3 and the conclusion to this interview. Thank you for listening. If you haven't already done so, please head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Also, please share this with family, friends, coworkers, or anyone that could benefit from this information. To make it very easy to share these episodes, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode that you want to share, and you can post it to your timeline. You just might be helping one of your friends on Facebook by sharing it on your page. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. The email is info@thorconklin. While at the website, please sign up for our weekly newsletter with additional tricks, tips, tools, and psychology on how to be a peak performer. Remember, these episodes are anywhere between 6 and 35 minutes and are meant to be consumed during dot time doing other things. Until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.